Hey everyone, this is John Striker Brobuscus, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. It's been a while. Today's episode is Leon Kennedy versus Frank West. Resident Evil versus Dead Rising. Okay, so, yeah. Not the matchup I would have picked, in my opinion. I've actually never gotten my thoughts publicly out on YouTube because the two videos that I actually shared my thoughts in didn't go up. And probably never will go. Actually, one of them won't go up. Okay, so this is not the matchup I would have picked. I would have preferred to see Frank fight Ash from Evil Dead, or Army of Darkness, whatever you prefer. But not saying that this is a bad matchup. So I'm cool with it. Let's go. But okay, so who do I want to win? Who do I think should win? And who do I think is going to win? Okay, so I want Frank to win because while I've never played a game in either series, I do have experience with both Dead Rising and Resident Evil thanks to the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Unfortunately, Leon isn't in them, so Frank it is. So, yeah, I'm going for Frank. As for who should win, I'm going to say Leon. Because this is by far the closest matchup of the season yet. Now watch how the next episode changes that. Watch how the next episode completely dethrones it. Okay, so this is a pretty close one. It basically comes down to Leon's stats versus Frank's gear. Because Frank has a lot of gear. A lot of them could take Leon down pretty quickly, assuming they land the mark, which they might, but at the same time, I don't know. The thing is, Leon... Okay, so Leon's stronger. He's faster. I know people contest the laser dodging feat in Resident Evil 4. 4, yeah. That's not the reason he's faster. He just has better, more consistent speed feats than Frank. He's tougher. He's more experienced. He's a better fighter. I know people have brought out that Frank has fought like military generals before, who have combat training, and he has. I'm not saying he hasn't, but the thing is, okay. So I see issues here. One, the generals in question probably didn't go through the same training that Leon did, and Leon's like a master at martial arts. Two, Frank probably beat them because of plot. Three, if it wasn't for plot, he probably won because he's just physically better, and in this case, he's not. And four, beating military trained people didn't help Nathan Drake. I know people like to bring up Nadine Ross, who basically whooped him, and she did. So it's not like that's not legit. But the thing is, he's also fought. I forget his name. He's the main villain of Golden Abyss, the PSP game, or is it Vita? I don't know. Who was a military general, a military trained general. My phone is going off. Okay. So he beat him, and yet he didn't beat Nadine, and he didn't beat Lara. But the big question here is how Leon can handle Frank's arsenal, because it's massive. Gives Ratchet and Clank a run for their money. Probably doesn't really, but you know, just an exaggeration to make a point. I think that Leon could dodge pretty much 90% of the stuff that Frank can throw at him, and take hits from the ones that he can't dodge. Like, I know people like to bring up the exosuit that Frank has, but I'm pretty sure Leon has fought stronger foes than that. Plus, the exosuit makes him pretty slow. So, I could see Frank winning if he's barraging Leon with weapons. Like if he loses one weapon, then he just pulls out another right out of nowhere. And if he loses that one, just pull out another one. Like rapid fire gun shooting, like what Doom Guy did to Master Chief in his death battle. Granted, Chief won that, but still, I could see Frank winning if he did that. But also, I don't think they're gonna. Frank has Zombie Frank, which is basically him. What you'd imagine, it's him as a zombie. I don't think they're gonna include that because from what I've heard, Frank later got cured of it. So unless he gets bit by another zombie while he's fighting Leon, which would rig it in Frank's favor. Now I know that zombies are taking a part in here, but the thing is, like, that would require them to like put them in that specific scenario instead of like a neutral scenario. Like there's no outside reason, I guess. Like they don't have any prep. They're in a neutral background. It's just those two fighting, and including Zombie Frank would probably be sort of background assistance, which is outside help, and I don't think they would include it. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that if Leon gets in close, then Frank's fate is sealed, basically. But if Frank can keep away from Leon the entire time, make it so that he doesn't get in close enough, but still close enough to where Frank isn't in danger because Leon can use like rocket launchers and sniper rifles. There's like a good distance in between them. Like here, like say this is like a line graph or something, whatever. I'm going math here now. So like here's Frank's. Like if it was to reach here, that would mean that it's more likely for Leon to get in close and win it there. And over here is the likelihood that Frank can... I messed that up. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not going to make that analogy. I've been rambling on for too long. Let's just get into this. Rooting for Frank. Leon should take it. I think Leon's going to win too, because I remember the episode commentary for Sora vs. Pit saying that Torian was really into the idea of Sora cutting buildings down. And it got to the point where they were like, okay, fine, we'll look into how powerful this is. Maybe it'll beat Pit. And then it did. So I imagine Torian had some input on Leon, because Torian loves Leon, which makes me very upset that he didn't animate this one. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, I'm rooting for Frank. Leon should win, and he's probably going to, so I'm just gonna press play.
Surviving the undead apocalypse takes grit, perseverance, and an army's worth of firepower. With all that and some luck, these two became experts in zombie fighting.
Leon Kennedy, the top cop and government agent in Resident Evil.
And Frank West, the backyard wrestling MacGyver of Dead Rising.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Have I ever gotten my opinions on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite on YouTube yet? I think it's
As a child, Leon Scott Kennedy's father instilled in him a strong sense of justice. Following in his footsteps, Leon joined the police force, determined to uncover the darkest riddles and uphold the law.
So, for his first ever assignment, he took the biggest challenge he could find. Instead of picking an easy job like dishing out dastardly parking tickets, he was off to Raccoon City to investigate a bunch of mysterious murders.
His instincts were good, perhaps too good. Officer Kennedy wound up choosing the most challenging and dangerous assignment he possibly could have.
Yeah, it turns out Trash Panda Town was due for a big ol' zombie outbreak, and Leon got stuck in the middle. How's that for hazing the rookie?
He wasn't a rookie for long. After fending off the zombie threat and even taking a bullet,
From the grassy knoll?
Leon was recruited by the American government as
Oh,
a
yeah, that's
special
another
agent
thing. Leon was
bodyguard
gotten shot
and
before.
their go-to specialist for apocalyptic events.
In all cases, the people that are bitten become infected themselves and go on to
Wait, I
attack
don't think
others.
it's a lethal
The only
shot
way to
for
stop
them.
the spread of infection is to destroy the infectee's brains. Shoot them in the head.
His training at the police academy turned him into a pretty tough guy, but as a special agent, he became unstoppable.
All thanks to his extensive firearms training, extreme driving tests, and the study of tactical response scenarios.
Extreme driving
Guess
tests
what
as
martial
he's
art they
speeding
teach
down the
American
street.
Secret Service members? A traitorous Russian one called Sistema, and Leon is an expert at it.
Sistema is a free-form martial art focusing on disabling targets via pressure points and joints. While not specifically lethal on its own, Sistema also involves quite a lot of training with knives and firearms.
That's good, because I don't think fists would be enough to take on monsters like the tyrants, skinless dogs, and... Is that Gene Simmons?
Right, these bioorganic weapons, or BOWs, were far tougher than your ordinary run-of-the-mill zombie. Thankfully, Leon has the weaponry to take them on.
He's efficient with just about any kind of gun, but like me, he loves carrying around his favorites, including the Silver Ghost, a unique pistol specifically designed for him. He's also got a modified 50 caliber Desert Eagle Magnum, a gift from his father. Lucky bastard. All I ever got from my dad was a sore cheek.
While he has no problem dual-wielding handguns, Leon is extremely proficient in dealing damage with heavier weapons, such as the M203 grenade launcher or his ludicrous rocket launcher special.
This red-tipped wrecker of an RPG is far more powerful than an ordinary propelled grenade. The gun itself looks similar to a classic RPG-7 model, first used as an anti-tank weapon by the Soviet Union. Since the red grenade is so deadly, it's probably a thermobaric explosive booster, which can launch over 600 feet for a 60-foot wide explosion. That's more than enough to take down one of those bow wows.
Leon has plenty of experience with hand grenades, rifles, flamethrowers, etc., but one weapon stands above them all: his knife.
Oh yeah, Leon's combat knife is way more than some plain old red cutter. He's practically magic when it comes to his skill with a knife. And if he gets hit, he'll be fine. Probably. I mean, he's wearing lightweight level 3 tactical body armor, which can stop bullets from a magnum and even some rifles. If he does take a hit, he's carrying some healing herbs, which he can also take a hit from, if you know what I'm saying.
He's not snorting drugs, Boomstick. Healing herbs have a history of being applied as an aerosol spray or ground up within paper.
Well, once Leon became the government's numero uno answer to all of their zombie problems, he was stopping outbreaks all over the world. He had to pull off some awesome feats to do it. He even had to make some horrible sacrifices along the way. Like that poor Ducati.
Leon is strong enough to crush a skull or even force open the jaws of a giant infected shark. The shark appears to be similar in size to a great white, which has a bite strength of nearly 2 tons of force.
That shit's crazy! And speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about Leon's relationship with boulders.
Relationship with what?
Boulders! You know, they're like really big rocks. Think you would know that. Well, he fought Chris Redfield to a standstill, the famous boulder puncher himself. And while Leon doesn't seem to have Chris's brute strength, he did push over this giant rock with a little help.
Leon is pretty quick too. He's dodged bullets, a moving laser grid, and even outraced this tyrant, which, according to the Inside of Biohazard guide, could run up to 43 miles per hour.
He's even thrown his trusty knife fast enough that this creepy guy didn't even react until,
The average time for a person to perceive and react to movement is 1/4 of a second. Leon appears to be about 30 feet away from his target Salazar here, meaning he threw his knife around 80 miles per hour.
The average speed for most world-class knife throwers is only 35 miles per hour, so he's more than double that.
Leon is tough, having survived blows from various large and burly BOWs. He even matched the strength of Umbrella agent Jack Krauser. Krauser was strong enough to perform a 30-foot vertical jump. Generally, men can pull off a 2-foot vertical jump at most, making Krauser potentially 15 times stronger than the average man.
At this point, let's just say that Leon is basically superhuman. It's like he has zero weaknesses.
Au contraire, Boomstick, Leon has his fair share of baggage. He's pretty gullible, oftentimes tricked by those wilier than himself.
Go. Save yourself. Is it just me, or does everybody always ignore what I say?
Like her? You think he just might be trying to get laid? Lord knows I've done a few dumb things on that quest. I don't know about his chances, though, rocking that hairdo.
But after more than 15 years of nightmarish catastrophes, Leon's mental state has become more fragile and more reliant on alcohol.
Ah, you and me both, pal. He always needs a little chaos in his life, and when it comes down to it, that's what makes him such a friggin' badass.
Better try a new trick, cause that one's getting old.
Upon first impression, Frank West seems to just be your average journalist, but he's far more than that.
I'll say, he's covered wars, you know.
As a photojournalist, Frank will regularly go far beyond the call of duty to uncover his next big scoop. It was this ironclad determination which led him to a mall in the town of Willamette, Colorado, where he found the zombie apocalypse.
What? Did you just say zombies?
But Frank's down to rough up dozens of zombies every now and then. And with his wrestling history and battlefield experience, he's got the skills to do it.
Despite never having fired a gun at another person before Willamette, Frank discovered he's a natural when it comes to firearms.
He's handy with all sorts of guns, like pistols, shotguns, machine guns, and a beautiful minigun. Oh, I love it. He's even got a silver ghost, a unique pistol specifically designed for government agent Leon Hey, wait a minute.
But bullets can only last so long against a never-ending zombie horde, so Frank was forced to improvise.
And thanks to being in a shopping mall, he had plenty of options.
From obvious choices like sledgehammers, baseball bats, and chainsaws to out-of-the-box picks like shampoo, lipstick, lawnmowers, and a shopping cart, Frank has an uncanny ability to effectively weaponize pretty much anything he gets his hands on.
Garbage, toys, food, you name it. This guy does not overlook anything's death-dealing potential. He even uses his camera flash as a weapon.
His primary camera appears to be a Nikon D100, which has a flash color temperature of 6000 K, or crystal white. When used up close, it's nearly as effective on the eyes as a flashbang grenade.
Anyway, Frank survived the zombie horde with flying colors. His next step was obvious. Profit from it.
He became famous overnight. He was named the Hero of Willamette, hosted a TV show, and scored all sorts of endorsements.
His love of using baseball bats to smash zombie skulls in even landed him a great commercial deal with Deadwood Pro Baseball. Damn, so he's making tons of money off of killing people. My dream.
I know, right? All these zombies were technically people once, so when you really think about it, this whole situation is pretty
freaking awesome! Living the dream, buddy. You earned it.
Anyway, fame is a fickle mistress, and it wasn't long until Frank's 15 minutes of fame were cut short. He eventually became a college teacher, but not before several more encounters with the undead kind.
And the more he fought him, the more creative he got about it.
Frank's greatest asset is his impressive ingenuity. With nothing but his blood, sweat, and tears,
and a shitload of duct tape,
Frank perfected the art of combination weapons.
Like the paddle saw, where he took a kayak paddle and strapped on a couple chainsaws for a rip-roaring good time.
The electric crusher is an invention combining the power of a car battery with the weight of a sledgehammer, crafting a Mjolnir for mortals.
The Blitzkrieg is a freaking wheelchair, powered by a car battery, firing machine guns all over the place. Stephen Hawking could have even beat death with that.
He can make a laser sword by sticking a gem into a flashlight. Don't ask me how.
And the Reaper is the unholy union of sickle and samurai sword. Wow, and all that is just scratching the surface. He's even got combo vehicles, like the exosuit.
That's a suit made of slurping machines.
Which shoots ice tornadoes? Talk about cool, pun intended.
Even stranger, Frank has used an arcade machine to miraculously copy some of the powers of fellow Capcom
that's how
You're a wizard, Frankie!
No, he's not magic. These powers come directly from costumes most commonly obtained from the machine. For example, he can don Ryu's ki to perform hurricane kicks, or Mega Man X's armor complete with a Mega Buster.
You are what you wear. Speaking of costume changes, sadly, Frank eventually was caught by zombies and wound up becoming another mindless slave of the undead horde. But it's okay, he got better.
Frank has pulled off a lot of impressive feats, despite having little formal training aside from maybe a 3-day combat journalist crash course. He's killed hundreds, maybe thousands of zombies, giving him one of the highest body counts in video game history.
He's really strong too. He can pull a zombie's limbs and head off no problem. And in the exosuit, he's pushed around a 2-ton car.
He's tough enough to survive long falls and devastating helicopter crashes with little issues. And he's quick enough to catch up to and board a train moving 15 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. He can even hop off zombies' heads like a ninja so well that the zombies barely even notice.
Wait, they don't notice that he's literally jumping off their heads? How the hell does he pull that off?
Very carefully. But Frank has fought more than just mindless zombies.
Yeah, like some crazy clowns with chainsaws and a freeze gun, and plenty of other psychomaniacs. This is my stuff! Including Lance Corporal Calder, the world's first intelligent soldier zombie.
Also, I think it's important to note many of these feats were performed in a span of 72 hours with no sleep or rest. According to a study on sleep deprivation in 2010, an average human's physical and mental health begins to severely deteriorate after 36 hours of no sleep, resulting in disorientation and even hallucinations.
Here I thought heavy drinking was the only way to legally hallucinate. Well, time to binge Netflix until I trip balls.
Whether by inhuman stamina or just a shit ton of adrenaline, Frank was in peak condition for twice as long as he should have been.
There's that journalist determination again. Sure, he may be a bit of a self-serving asshole, but he's pulled off the impossible more than once, even when he got into his 50s.
Once a survivor, always a survivor.
Snag your very own disposable Digi-Jeep disposable camera. It's fantastic.
I mean it. Seriously. I need a raise.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, let me tell you about how you can be the MacGyver of the kitchen.
Many times Frank has said, I've covered words, you know. I like the 3D environment.
Who knows what these people think is worth braving certain doom to get?
Sweet! Just what I was looking for.
What are you doing?
Okay, so
No one's supposed to be here.
the audio isn't as choppy as the preview was in the Death Bell cast. That's good. I was concerned that was the problem, but nope.
See you in a flash, buddy.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the zombies. Okay, this is where the preview ends for me, so I'm blind on this. I knew Leon was gonna catch that gun. As much as I like the zombies getting involved, I kind of hope that all the fight doesn't involve them.
Keep up with me.
Wanna bet? I've covered wars, you know.
There's the line. I was concerned they weren't gonna give him that line.
That's nice, but I fought them.
I guess it's true.
Lucky me.
Should have been Dante. Granted, Frank West has Dante's spread. Probably don't exist. What did you expect that to do, Frank? Oh, there it is. That's good.
Nice to meet you. Why don't you chill out?
Oh, the RPG. Oh shoot, tornado. I'm honestly not sure at this point.
It was ice fighting with you, buddy.
Is Leon gonna lose this? Oh, no?
Game over.
Alright.
Something tells me Frank won't be coming back from the dead this time.
I was guessing.
Frank's
I kept
shift
guessing.
strategies and endlessly creative arsenal certainly put up a good fight. But in the end, Leon just had him beat in nearly every other category.
Frank was one tough cookie, but Leon's superhuman abilities were just more impressive. Frank's pushed a 2-ton car, right?
Yes, which is similar to Leon holding back the shark's 2-ton biting force. But his boulder feat was much more impressive. By comparing the boulder's size to Leon, it appears to have weighed around 9 tons at minimum. While Leon did have help pushing it, even half of 9 tons is much heavier than anything Frank's lifted or pushed.
Leon and Frank seemed equally tough, but Leon was definitely quicker. Bullet timing, laser dodging, and hell, Leon's speed and precision with his knife on its own is more impressive than any speed feat Frank's got.
But in the end, the most important question was whether or not Leon could cope with Frank's insane weaponry and unpredictable creativity.
This music
But
is really
Leon's
nice,
seen
actually.
plenty of crazy
I've
shit
listened
in
to it
his
before. It's really
career
good.
and fought lots of surprising and off-putting monsters.
His years of formal training and more consistent combat record certainly lent him the experience needed to win. He's survived numerous battles with enemies powerful enough to one-shot him, and he's shown plenty of creative strategy and critical thinking mid-fight.
Like when he fought Tyrant Glenn, using momentum from his own injuries and throwing a friggin' motorcycle through the air. Leon was just too fast, too strong, too experienced, and too badass. He was frankly on his game.
The winner is Leon
Wow,
Kennedy.
that was bad. Okay.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death
Oh,
Battle.
hi,
If you wanna check
Sean.
out
I didn't expect you to be
commentary for this
there.
episode, you can click the little box right over there for a first membership trial. And if
I
you wanna
see you
grab
in the
music
back
from
there,
Spike, go ahead
Torian.
and
Do so, it's down in the description.
Dude! They're... Dude! That's gonna be sick. Okay. I'll talk about that later. I'll try to contain my hype for that one in a second. Okay, Leon vs. Frank. It was good. It was a good fight. It wasn't like super phenomenal, but it was never gonna be. I don't mind, like, while I don't have a lot of experience with these characters, they seem cool enough in their own right, and I consider the same for their games, but I don't know, I guess it just wasn't, it was never going to be a super amazing fight. It wasn't going to be like Pit versus Sora, Naruto versus Ichigo, Shredder versus Silver Samurai levels of holy crap, this is amazing! No, it wasn't going to be that. They're just too human, I guess. Like, I'm not saying they are human. They're superhuman. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Which is how the characters are. Comparing them to a bunch of other fights this season and overall is not fair, and it was never going to be fair. At the very least, I felt it at its best would have been on par with, like, maybe Jotaro versus Kenshiro. Now, I think Jotaro versus Kenshiro is a bit better, but still. But it wasn't going to be like Pit versus Sora or Crash versus Spyro. But even at its best, like, it wasn't, I don't think, while I think they put effort into it, I don't see much issues with the research this time, actually. I feel like, they said Leon has bullet timing feats, which he does, but, but they made it so that, they made it seem like Frank doesn't have bullet timing feats, which he does. So, a bit up in the air, but I don't see, like, Pit versus Sora levels of holy crap, how do you screw up this badly and still get it right? No, I don't see that. So, good on them for that. As for the fight itself, it was well animated. I feel like some scenes were a bit choppy, like they had some lag to them. I don't know if anything could have been done to fix that, but I don't know. The sprites meshed together decently well. They were they used a pretty creative way of flowing the fight, having zombies take part. I do kind of wish that the zombies didn't take part in as much as they did. It seemed like half of the fight was focusing on Leon and Frank fighting the zombies rather than themselves. Which, I mean, I guess is fine, but at the same time, I don't know, just kind of felt like there were, like, I feel like there could have been more fighting between Leon and Frank themselves rather than the zombies. Not to say take the zombies out, but no. Okay. Analysis was nothing special. It wasn't like super boring, which is a first for which has been pretty rare this season. I think the only one that didn't like bore the crap out of me was like maybe Crash vs. Spyro. But it wasn't really anything special. It was just info, a few jokes here and there. None of them really caught my attention. So I don't know. It's better than the usual staple of being boring as crap. I'm actually not okay. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, well, I don't know how much like downplay there was, or like in terms of like how like is Frank or Leon actually stronger than they portray them or weaker. I don't know, but in terms of like the overall reasons behind why Leon won, like the fact that he's stronger, faster, more experienced, has better training than Frank, and can get around Frank's massive arsenal. I feel like they kind of nailed it. I'm not gonna lie. Lately, it seems like they've been giving stat advantages to the wrong people, even if they get them right. Like they said, Virgil. Like, okay, so Virgil, Spyro, and Sora were faster. They had the speed edge that they don't actually have. Okay, so I'm gonna go to just season 5. Give me a second. Okay, so Black Panther was stronger. He is, so that's good. They said Raven was stronger. Yes. They said Kenshiro was stronger. Yes. They said Spyro. They said physical strength went to Crash, but overall power went to Spyro, which I guess is, which I mean I think is true. Said Sora was stronger, which he is, and then they said Leon was stronger, which he is. Durability, I think they nailed every fight this season. Black Panther, Raven, Kenshiro, Spyro. No, they said Crash and Spyro's durability were even. So, no. Never mind. What else? They also said Frank and Leon had pretty even durability, which they do, but it leans more towards Leon. So, anyways, yeah. So they nailed the reasons, but I don't know how they handled the evidence for the reasons. Like, is like maybe Leon in the actual games is actually way stronger than they made him out to be, or maybe he's way weaker. Same can be said for Frank. I don't know. Same can be said for Speed. I don't know if they truly think that the laser dodging feat is really like laser dodging. They didn't really imply anything, but I don't know. But no, in terms of the overall reasoning, I think they pretty much nailed it. So, good on them. Yeah, I like the voice acting. The voice acting was pretty good. It wasn't like Justin Briner or Edward Bosco levels of holy crap, these are amazing voice actors. But I think they did a good job. The music was good. It's probably one of my favorite tracks of the season. I put it slightly behind like Crash and Burn from Crash vs. Spyro, Bizarre Stars from Jotaro vs. Kenshiro. But I put it above like Battle of the Zoo from Black Panther vs. Batman, Unlocking Heavens from Sora vs. Pit, and Titans of Magic from Raven vs. Twilight. So it's like a decent middle ground, I guess. So yeah, there's that. They got it right, I feel. Even though I would have preferred to see Frank win, I think they got it right. 7! Dude, they're on a roll. Oh man, they're on a roll for right results. Granted, their research hasn't been great, but in terms of the overall results, I think they've been nailing every single one since, starting with even freaking Sephiroth versus Virgil. Like, Sephiroth won, Black Panther won, Raven won, Kenshiro won, Spyro won, Sora won, and now Leon has won. So if Dr. Fate wins the next one, then it'll be 8 in a row. Which I guess kind of segues into that. Okay, dude, Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate. Okay, so I've made it pretty much clear that I want to do a top 10 most wanted death battles list, but I keep like missing my opportunities to do so until and by the time I finally am like preparing myself to do one, the new season. The season premieres are always get announced. So, but this time I plan on doing it like right after the season ends. So I have a bit of time to get matchups together and plan out a top 10. But I will say that Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate was a matchup that was on that list. It was that, of the matchups that have happened this season, that and Crash versus Spyro have happened. And they were on my list. So, yay me. Also, Season 4 had quite a bit of them too. I'm trying to go by top 10 alone. Okay, let's see. Megazord vs. Voltron was one. Sub-Zero vs. Glacius was one. Naruto vs. Ichigo was on there. Sephiroth vs. Virgil was on there. Season 3, Dante vs. Bayonetta was there. Okay, so Dante vs. Bayonetta, Ratchet and Clank, Bowser vs. Ganondorf, Ratchet and Clank vs. Jak and Daxter. I wanted Mewtwo vs. Blackbird Greymon, but they did Mewtwo vs. Shadow instead. Let's see. Hulk vs. Doomsday was on that list. So yeah. It just keeps getting updated every season, and I don't think that's going to change. I don't think that's going to stop. Actually, give me a second. I have the list. I'm going to give you guys the current list of my top 10 most wanted matchups to happen in Death Battle so far, including Doctor Strange vs. Dr. Fate. So that way you'll know if they ever get updated. So my current one, including this one, number 10 was Goku Black versus Professor Zoom. Number 9 is Ultron versus Sigma. Number 8 is Saxon Hale versus Senator Armstrong. Number 7 is Geese Howard versus Heihachi Mishima. Number 6 is Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate. Number 5 is Blaze the Cat versus Princess Azula. Number 4 is Sarge versus Soldier. Number 3 is Lobo versus Ghost Rider. Number 2 is Optimus Prime versus the Burning Gundam. And number 1 is Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer, which I do predict to happen this season. So, yeah. So now you'll have an idea as to what matchups are going to be on the video, provided they don't happen this season. Now watch how none of them happen this season. That would be a surprise. No, it wouldn't. But that would mean I kind of spoiled a video. Whoops. Maybe I'll make it a top 15 just to make it interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay, so I've rambled for 40 minutes, and I haven't really talked about... Well, granted, most of that was me watching the video. Whatever. Okay, I've been rambling for too long. Why did, Doctor Strange vs. Dr. Fate? That is so hype. Okay, so Dr. Fate is one of my mains in Injustice 2, and he also has probably the best voice acting of the game. Either that or it's his filter. I don't know. I was a little disappointed that he didn't have much of a role in the story. And then he ended up dying. So that sucks. Okay, something happened there. Don't know what happened. But okay, so Dr. Fate vs. Doctor Strange. I'm going to stop rambling. Dr. Fate is my main in Injustice 2. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I want Doctor Strange to win. I think Fate should win. I'll explain why in the podcast because I'm running out of time. So I'm